Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Jered from Jarhead Bonsai sent me this Delonix regia last year, so it came in about September of 2020. And it was in the mail for quite a while, at least a week, and it didn't look so good when I got it. And it never really recovered. It never started growing really strongly. And I thought, well, maybe it's the soil it's in. I kept it in the greenhouse under good conditions, and it never really took off. It's always stayed alive, but it's never been vigorous. So today I'm going to try and figure out why.
I noticed on the plant there are these little tiny ants crawling up and down them, and I don't know if you can see them there. Yeah, right on there. And I looked them up. I wondered, well, are they spider mites? And I looked them up, but spider mites just have one little body with legs. They look like a crab. And these look like regular ants, just really tiny. So I have a magnifying glass. I've put that over and I've tried to see them more clearly. And they're definitely... I don't know what they are.
If these are regular ants, then they're probably feeding on scale insects or aphids or something. If they're spider mites, well, they're no good. They'll suck the sap out of the tree. So I think it's best I spray and get rid of them. I've got the soap and water, so here I go. Well, we'll let that sit for a while. See what happens if I can see any live ones after this. And then we'll examine the tree. I'm going to take it out of the pot too. I'm going to change the soil to bonsai soil. Check out the root system and see what's going on with this tree, why it's not growing vigorously. I've got my magnifying glass out. I'm not seeing any activity at all, so that must have got rid of them. I'm going to pull it out of the pot now and just see what's going on with this root system. I'm going to put a plastic bag underneath the tree to catch the old soil, and then I'll put the old soil outside so it'll freeze. I don't want any, if they are spider mites, I don't want them spreading in my plant room here, so I'm going to be very careful and isolate this soil and keep it separate from the rest of my trees. So out it comes. It's very, very wet. Wow, is it ever wet? Okay. Yeah, so I think a more porous soil will help this tree a lot. I would say that I've been watering this too much and the soil has been retaining too much moisture. So, yeah, not very healthy for roots to grow in this kind of soil. Probably in this humid plant room doesn't help either. Okay, so there's our tree. I'll just separate the roots here. There we go. I'll rinse off the roots and then I'm going to put it on jet here. Oh, it's definitely from a seed. Yeah, you can see the taproot and the trunk are just one continuous flowing line. Okay, so I've washed off all the old soil. So I'll put all this in a plastic bag and put it outside. I just don't want any, if they were spider mites, I don't want them in my plant room here. I don't think they were, but who knows? There's some kind of insects and they were living off something. So everything goes in the bag like that and outside it goes. Here's a look at the tree now. There's no signs of life on it anywhere. So it's definitely from a seed. The trunk comes down and then there's a taproot here. But there's a lot of roots coming off of that taproot. So that's good. It's the start of a radial root system. So I'll pick out a pot
Now, these are fairly fast-growing trees, so I don't want a really small pot. So I want something a little larger. I've got this plastic training pot, and it's very large. It's way too big for this tree, but this tree could grow quite quickly. So by the end of summer, this pot might be full of roots. So that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going to try it in this pot. I just don't have a smaller one in here. All my pots are outside in the snow, so this will have to do, and I think it'll do quite fine in here. So I'll get a base layer of soil in here, and then we'll plant the tree. All right, in goes the soil. I've got drainage screens in there. I think the plant will like this bonsai soil. I was going to do it when I got the tree, but then the tree didn't look really healthy from being in the mail, so I thought, oh, I better not touch it. And I don't know, looking back, maybe I should have, but no time like the present. All right, let's get the tree planted now. I'm not going to do much root work to the tree because it's fairly weak. I'm only going to take off the end of the taproot, so right here, like that. So I'm going to plant the tree. It's kind of the trunk has a bit of a curve to it, so I'm going to position it over this side, and it'll kind of grow up and towards the middle. And there's not much I can do with the roots at this point in time. I just hope, they grow well in this new soil. A little more soil. And I think that'll do it. So the soil is just below the lip of the pot. So when you water it, it doesn't run off. It's kind of contained in the pot. And speaking of water, I think it needs watering. There's a look at the tree now. That is one lonely little tree in that giant pot. I'll give it a watering, put it back on the bench in the sun, and hopefully we'll see some really good, strong growth coming on it now. All right, here I go with the water. I think it'll grow well in this more porous soil. I think those roots were just waterlogged. And that should do it. I'm hoping that the steps I took today will save this tree and make it into a beautiful bonsai in the future. Time will tell in the next couple of weeks. If it starts to grow with a bit of vigor, I'll know I've done the right thing. So it goes back on the bench now, and let's get on with the second part of today's video. The next tree that I'll be working on today is my Campfire Jade, or Crassula capitella. And the reason they call it a Campfire Jade is that the leaves can turn a bright reddish orange, and it looks like the flames of a campfire. So that should be quite exciting. So I've chosen this green pot for it because green is the opposite of red, so it should make the colors of the campfire look even brighter and more vivid. So let's get it out of the pot and into the new one. I can tell that I've been underwatering this tree. If you look here, you can see all the little root hairs coming out of the branches, and the leaves are a little shriveled up, so it could use more water. So once it's in bonsai soil, I'll feel a little safer about giving it more water. The excess water will drain through the soil. Right now it's in like a plant soil or a garden soil that holds a lot of water, and I'm always afraid if I water it too much and we get 3 or 4 cloudy days in a row that the roots will start rotting and I'll lose the plant. So yeah, so let's get it out of this pot. All right, I'll just loosen it up a bit. There we go, and I'll try and lift it out like that. Okay. So it feels dry, the soil. Not really dry, but I'll start raking out the soil. Definitely more of a garden soil, but
does look like it has some sand in it, so that's good. So I haven't seen any roots yet, but oh, maybe there's a few surface roots there. Yeah. So these trees were given to me by Jacques in our club. He visits South Africa quite often, so he kind of collects South African plants. And that's where these are from, South Africa. Whoa. Okay, so the old root base kind of rotted away there, and it just tipped over, and there's new roots on the surface. So that is not what I expected. Yeah, so it's had root rot at some time in its life. And it's regrown new roots from higher up, which saved the plant. So it is really going to like the new soil. Boy, I didn't expect that one to tip over like that. So there's my 2 trees, basically cuttings with a few roots on them. I'm going to have to reduce the top of the tree quite a bit. They're very top heavy, and they'll just tip over in the pot if I don't prune them back. So I'll do that now. I'm going to come in and do the pruning now, and I'm looking for taper, good direction. So there's a branch growing on the inside here. I can take that off, and I'll save my cuttings. It's a fairly rare species. I haven't seen them around much. So, you know, people in the club might be interested in cuttings off of this. So just pruning back to get a basic structure here. Lightening the load on the tree. And hopefully we can save this tree. It does have some roots down below, which is good. So I'm just pruning all the branches so they divide from 1 into 2. Taking off the heavier branches for taper. Getting rid of a lot of weight off the top of the tree here. Now, so that's kind of got the tree down to a basic structure now. I'll have to plant it quite deeply in the pot so it doesn't tip over, but I think that'll do for now for that one tree. So I'll go on to the next one now. Another tall tree. This branch is kind of on the inside of the curve of the trunk, so I'm going to take it right off like that. It divides up here. I think I'm going to take the top off like that. Reduce this back. And reduce this back. There, I'm left with a tree now. Now, I think we're going to make it a 3-tree planting. Keep it an odd number, so I'll remove these lowest branches off this cutting. Like that. I'll reduce the height of the cutting like that and prune it back. So there, I've got 3 trees I can plant in the pot now. I'll get a base layer of soil in the pot. With bonsai soil, it's hard to overwater a tree. It's harder anyway.
because the excess water just drains out through the soil particles. So it's really good for succulent trees, having a good free-draining bonsai soil in your pot. I'm going to turn the pot around so you'll be seeing the back of the pot. And I'll arrange the trees. I've got... These two are about the same height, which isn't that good. I was thinking something like that. I can always grow the other one taller, like that. They kind of fit together nicely there. Like that, and then the third cutting off to the side. Yeah. Okay. It's not easy holding 3 trees at once. And I'll fill it in with soil. Hopefully the soil will hold the trees up so I don't have to hang on to them like this. So I'm not sure I can reach my soil bucket. Are you going to stay? They are staying, that's good. I'll get some more soil in here. Now, I've just got to arrange the trees a little better. I think I'm going to spin this one around a bit. I don't like the way I put it in there. Move it forward a little. That one back like that. That's looking not too bad. Okay, I'll turn it around and you can have a look at the planting. Here's a look at the planting now. So I've got it so the tree on the left-hand side kind of has a branch that crosses in front of the other two. And I've done that for depth. Otherwise, they just look like 3 sticks in a pot. And, you know, that could change in the future. I've got the thickest part of the left-hand tree kind of towards us. Yeah, each tree, it's kind of a group. My only complaint is maybe that tree on the right-hand side is a little too equally spaced compared to the others. So I could move that in a little closer. So I'll do that. I think that looks a little better. I could splay it out just a little more. There, that maintains a nice spacing. They're unequally spaced at the base. They're sort of equally spaced up top, which gives them a nice look to it, I think, a balanced look. So that will do it. Now, I'm not going to water these. The soil did have some moisture in it. It wasn't totally dry. I will just give them a light misting, and I'll see if they recover. They should. It's nice and warm, sunny in the plant room here, so I think they should recover okay. So I'll give them a misting now. All right, here I go with the misting. Make sure I have it on a nice mist. There we go. So that should do it right there. And this mist just kind of duplicates the dew you would get in the morning and then the dew you would get at nighttime. So I mist them twice a day. And it seems to keep the plants quite happy. Today I took 2 plants that weren't doing very well, and the main reason was they were in potting soil. And it's really hard to judge the moisture levels in potting soil. Bonsai soil tends to dry out evenly, and it changes color when it starts to go dry. So it's really easy to tell if your plant needs watering or not. So today, you know, we took these 2 sickly plants and hopefully got them back on track to becoming healthy trees. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.